Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we are on the website of Ingles and Hayday Auctioneers based in the UK, and we're going to have a look at their November auction. So this is one of two auctions that they have a year. They have like a summer and a winter auction. The catalogue has been up for a little while. Bidding actually doesn't start until the Friday the 29th of October, and it finishes on Tuesday the 2nd of November. There's quite a lot of items here. Buyer's premium is 20%, and also as before, check the kind of terms and conditions if you're kind of buying something that's CITES related, or if you're buying stuff outside of the UK. So remember, the UK is not part of Europe anymore. So if you're in Europe, you might have additional fees. If you're out of Europe anyway, then you'll have the standard fees as before. So check it all out. And I'm glad to say that I'm joined today by Max. He has returned. Hello, Max.
Hello again.
Greetings. Thank you for joining. I know that we haven't done an auction for a while because I've been super busy, you've been super busy, and I keep on postponing all the time. I'm like, yeah, let's do it today. And then I'm like, actually, I don't think I can. So mainly on me, but finally we've got together for this auction, which I think, to be fair, is one of the best, one of the top auctions of the year anyway, in terms of musical instruments of the calendar. A pinnacle, some might say.
We're excited.
Yeah, exactly. So without further ado, because we're all super busy and everyone probably wants us to get on with it anyway, let's crack on and have a look at the catalogue. A full disclaimer, I think we've all kind of loosely looked at this catalogue before, but probably not in detail. So we probably won't remember all of it, but let's crack on. And if there's anything interesting, then we'll talk about it. And if not, then we'll crack on. And Max usually remains silent if he's not interested in anything. So we'll just go for that. So lot one, a violin, Circle of Francois Cossin, circa 1870, with a kind of dodgy Della Costa label there. That's stretching it a bit. 35.8 is the back.
Croissants, you see them in every auction. I think some look very interesting, especially this one. I think pretty nice example. But as we mentioned many times, it's French, so it doesn't quite sell, unfortunately.
No. And this one has a certificate from Bernard Sabatier, Paris. Recent certificate there. 5 to 7,000 is the estimate. We can look at the certificate, but I think probably not bother because it's early on, but maybe we'll look at some certificates for other things. There's quite a lot of lots, so we should probably just click on.
But I just want to say that the croissant, if you look at the corner works and the purfling, it has an interesting German vibe to it, but then everything else, is French. So, and this is, if you look at it, it's actually 1870, so a bit of a late stuff.
It is indeed. But yeah, no, there is a market for this stuff, as you said. Some people do quite like these. So
they look nice too, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And moving on to lot two, violin by Plinio Michetti, Turin, 1939, labelled as such. Length of back of is 35.6, and it comes in a case. Very good. 15 to 20,000 is the estimate.
You got me wondering what the case is. Could be some sort of a what is it? Mustafia.
Yeah, Mustafia, or maybe an old gorge kind of case or something like that. The scroll looks quite robust on this.
The rest of the instrument is just a strong modern Italian vibe.
So. Yeah, strong edge work on that. So I think we can crack on, but looks interesting enough. Lot three, a violin, Circle of Nestor Ordino, Mirecourt. He born in Mirecourt, but so this is a Paris violin, 1880, labeled Derazy, 35.9. Good bit of long French action there. 5 to 7,000 is the estimate.
It looks like a very neat instrument and just typical French stuff. I mean, I would assume if you send this instrument to one of the French experts, they'll give you a name to exactly who made it. It looks almost like one of the I forgot his name. This French guy, he works on a Guarneri model very similar to this. But I mean, also a lot of micro instruments are made this way. So
Yep, but it looks like a standard kind of French instrument there. I'm sure it's fairly decent. So moving up a tier a bit here. Lot 4, a violin by Pierre Jean-Henri Hell, Lille, 1904, labeled as such. 35.4 is a good, respectable length there. Certificate from Rolf Zerbuchen, Zurich, 2006. There's a cell room notice. What's this? This lot was originally listed as made by Pierre Joseph Hell. This has been amended to Pierre Jean Henri Hell. There you go. I thought that would, yeah, thought that was a bit different. Interesting bird's eye back there. 10 to 15,000 pounds is the estimate.
yeah, I've not studied the Hell family, but I assume this is a big name, and the scroll just looks amazing.
This is kind of your thing. This is floating your boat. It looks precise, doesn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be actively looking for early 20th century French because there's so many of them out there, but they're nice stuff.
Yeah, looks good. So onwards and upwards, a violin by George Woolm Hudson, London, early 20th century. Seen a few of these before. Born London, 1862. Died Chessington, 1952. Not a million miles away from where I was brought up. Branded George Hudson to the top and bottom blocks. 35.6, respectable. 5 to 7,000 is the estimate. Quite nice varnish there.
Yeah, a bit of a artificial antiquing plus the actual age. So that looks like an interesting combination.
Yeah, it looks like a solid instrument.
Yeah, some restorer may retouch the top corner of the front a little bit, but you can leave it too. Looks solid.
Yeah, solid English instrument there. A violin by Piero Paravincini or something of that kind of pronunciation.
Paravincini, I guess.
Yeah, Bavizio, 1925. Labeled with signature of Ancionazzi, Ricardo, etc., etc. Length of back 35.9, getting a little bit on the longer side. 15 to 20,000 is the estimate there.
Oh, very neat. If you look at the purfling, the button and the corner works.
Yeah, it looks in good state as well. Yeah, very, very tidy workmanship. So yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about the length. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, an interesting one. How many times can I say interesting in this video? Probably quite a few times. Lot 7, a violin. This is out of the Brompton school book here, as vague as possible. Circa 1800, labeled Andreas Guarnerius. 35.6, 3 to 5,000. It's not too expensive there. Interesting shape, interesting F holes.
It's difficult to tell what it is. You can see that a lot of grafting has been done on the scroll. If you look at the scroll from the back, if you look at it from the side, you would think the peckle has been grafted. But if you look at the scroll from the back, it's like the right side of the scroll there's something going on there.
Yeah, there's something slightly strange occurring there.
But could be a nice instrument, but it's a bit of a curious one.
Yeah, speculative lot, this one.
Brompton will probably call it like probably Italian or something.
Oh yeah, quite possibly. Look, having briefly looked at the latest Brompton's auction, which is almost 80% Italian or possibly Italian violins. So lot 8, a violin attributed to Carlo Antonio Testore, 19th century. It has a Testore label, 35.4 in a case. So
I wonder who attributed it to Testore.
That is a good question.
Yeah, and it has some very thin purfling. almost look like as if the purfling is painted, but you can see that they're actual purfling.
Yes, I'm curious, unless it's kind of scratched in as some of the Testores were, but you can't, there's no continuation of grain line, so it looks like actual genuine purfling there. So
Do we say this kind of stuff on these videos that like you buy one of these for $100 on eBay?
yeah, right, yeah, well, I don't know, we haven't got to it yet, but yeah, sometimes you can pick up things that look a bit similar to this for not too much money. I've picked up a few things, still waiting to find out what's happening, but yeah, definitely you do sometimes see some things like this on eBay for sure. So if people are interested in that, keep an eye out for things. Next lot, another A violin, probably Italy, circa 1860. The head by another hand, probably 18th century Italian, labeled Amati, 35.6, 6 to 8,000. Actually, quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean the F holes. I wouldn't comment about the form, but the F holes has some Italian vibe to it. But you expect an Italian instrument to have the F holes maybe plays a little further away from each other, but other than that, it's definitely interesting.
It's quite narrow in a way.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting. I like the back there. Back's nice. Let's go on. A violin attributed to Giovanni Battista Gabiso, early 20th century, labeled Gabiso, and a violin bow in the case, 3 to 5,000 there. 35.9 is the length. Are you feeling anything on this one?
I've obviously not studied the maker, so it looks nice. I mean, it's a bit of a dilemma in investing in instruments like this. Either you have a name in mind or you just buy it for what it is. But this one is a bit long and not, I wouldn't say the neatest instrument on this auction. So
okay, so we'll pass on that one. And then a violin by Oscar Mackhold, Chemnitz, 1943, labeled as such, 35.7, 3 to 5,000 is the estimate there.
is it related to the Mackhold?
I actually don't know. I probably something I should look up. I have no idea. It's a very good question.
Yeah, this bit of a generic looking German instrument. I honestly wouldn't. I honestly don't know why is it estimated up to £5,000.
Well, there's probably there probably is some kind of lineage in there somewhere. So we are probably ignorant to it. So that's something for us to look up to do our homework after this.
The scroll is nice.
Yeah, I think it looks quite tidy. I quite like the back actually. I'm not offended by it. So looks good. Moving onwards, lot 12, a violin by Franz Geisenhoff, Vienna, 1795, labeled as such, 35.7. Silver mounted violin bow by Gartner is in the case. Interesting that that's not been split out separately, but perhaps it's not valuable enough to be a separate lot for Ingles and Hayday.
I have just requested a condition report for this. I wonder why a Geisenhoff is only estimated up to 12,000 to 16,000. Well, I have a theory. This one is
perhaps
probably
lost a lot of its original varnish.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be a problem. For a Viennese violin, you actually want it in this shape because else it will be completely black, like the one I have. Because these are red varnish, but after a while they oxidize, so that's why you have that Viennese look, which is very similar to a Venetian look, but not quite exactly the same. My theory is that if you can see, this is still a Steiner influenced, very Austrian looking instrument, while later on Geisenhoff would pick up a more Strad like model. It's probably because this is an earlier model of Geisenhoff. That's why they wouldn't value it as high as his Strad model. Yeah, if you look at the scroll, it still has that very strong German Austrian vibe to it. While if you look at some later Geisenhof, it's gone full Strat.
Okay, well, it's interesting. Well, it's a curious lot anyway for people that are
I guess we
interested
should
in.
show the scroll. It really kind of pairs with the rest of the instrument. It's a very typical Austrian, what you would think like an 18th century Austrian instrument will look like. But what we think of Geisenhof is a very beautiful looking Strat model, which this is just not. That's why I think is only estimated up to 16,000 pounds. But it's still a Geisenhof, so I think that's probably a good deal.
Okay, yeah.
But these definitely retail for way more in private sale.
Well, that's one to watch out then.
Yeah, that's why I also requested for a condition report. I want to see if there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. So a violin by Georges Chanot the first, Paris, 1837, labeled as such, 35.8 in a case. Sold with is that a book? I think. Yeah, it's sold with a book where the violin is included a plate in that book. 25 to 35,000. Looks in pretty nice condition.
It's gonna need some retouching, but everything else just beautifully made. Like, wow.
The back is very striking, isn't it?
Yeah. You look at the channeling of the scroll, the locator pins. This is almost a VM.
Well, it's certainly cheaper than a VM.
Yeah, way cheaper. This is like the poor man's VM, if you think about it. But is that as old as a VM? Yeah, 1837. I'll buy it if I had the money.
Add it to your list. No, it's an interesting one, definitely. So to the next one, a violin by William and Joseph Chanot. There you go, London, 1939, labeled as such, 35.8, 5 to 7. So once again, looks quite tidy.
Yeah, this is the English Chanot.
Yep.
Yeah, they're the one that made the De Jesus front for the Landolfi in Royal Academy Music's collection.
Interesting. Yeah, they're quite well known over here. The Chanot, the London branch. So,
but it definitely doesn't look. I mean, are they related to the French Chanot?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, the previous one, these two are 100 years apart, but the previous one is stunning. This one is just, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are. Don't quote me on that. Once again, that's kind of more research needed there. So I have to look into that. But I think that they are.
This in a way almost look like one of those Hill instruments, like by the W. Hill and Son firm. But I feel like even those has a bit of a stronger French vibe than this one.
Well, it would be of the same kind of period that there was a lot of Hill instruments made, so it is possible. And then a violin by Bernard Simon Fent Sr. So this is right up your alley here, London, 1800.
This instrument was previously offered by the private sale in Ingles Hayday. Obviously, it didn't sell.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked at this instrument a lot because it's a bit of an ongoing research, but this is, you would call it a very typical example of Fent. The corners are very, very neat, and if you look at these like very nicely made locator pins, very well hidden by the purflings and everything, just very nice.
Looks like a very kind of well looked after example.
Yeah, I mean, it's just nothing's too radical on these. If I can borrow the words of Benjamin Hibbert, he said that if you look at the Fent F holes, you can tell it's someone that's seen a real Strat. Actually, there is we've seen a Fent copy of the Betts Strat when he's working with the other English makers.
Yep. No, interesting. 35.3 back and 18 to 25,000 is the estimate. But yeah, I like it. Say again.
It has a beer certificate,
Yeah, that's
probably
true.
Charles beer.
I think it did say that. 2016. Yeah, beer violins. Yeah, that would be Charles Beer. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Otherwise it's a J and A. So
yeah, because as a it's also sold in a case, in a hill case. So the case itself would probably worth like $1,000, £1,000, £2,000. I don't know.
oh yeah,
Maybe not
definitely.
much, yeah.
So here we have one of the star lots, the X Kuchansky and X Antonich violin by Giovanni Battista Guadagnini. Piacenza 1747, labeled as such, 35.5 in case, letter from Hills and Sons. So this violin is first recorded in 1887 when it was sold by W. Hill and Sons to a Mr. H. Porter of Russell Square, London, for £110. There you go. And then it goes on. There's quite a lot of provenance there, but I mean, this is quite an instrument, really.
Yep, this is your Piacenza period Guadagnini, which as the market goes, what I heard is they will put at a slightly lower estimate than the Milan Guadagnini.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's either Milan. I think Milan is the more expensive one for whatever reason. I mean, even for this one, you can tell that it's got that broad corners and it's that general strat shape to it. The wide Guadagnini. I don't personally like. I feel like it's a bit out of proportion. But this is a you call it a strong Cremonese influence.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. I'd be curious to see if that kind of sells or what it kind of ends up going for, really.
And so. I'm almost certain that this one probably sounds amazing because it's been like owned by a bunch of violins.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the provenance is quite interesting on this one.
It's waiting for the next concert soloist to pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. And then onwards again. Violin by Ricardo Burgonzi. It's a kind of modern maker. Cremona, 1982. Labeled as such, 35.7, sold with certificate of the maker from 2021, 5 to 8,000. We've seen actually a few of these, haven't we? Interesting kind of corners on this one, I think.
Yeah, it's been quite a bold design to it. I don't know if this is just a model of the maker or went a bit freehand to it with it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Not quite to my taste, but
yeah,
curious. So, yep.
It's interesting that the maker will issue a new certificate for his old work. I wonder what the story is. Probably someone brought the instrument back to him.
Yeah, maybe, you never know. I mean, we actually see a lot of these instruments, these Ricardo Burgonzis recently in most auctions. There seems to be one.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what that means, but just an observation. Then on to lot 18, a violin again, France, early 19th century, unlabeled, 35.7 in a case.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite lots because it looks quite interesting, but in the fact that they say it's French, I wonder why, and because at least the way I look at it, it could be anything. But I don't know much about French stuff. It's not as much as I would like to know about them. So there's definitely a reason to it, but I think it's really interesting. I would love to see what the dendrochronology result says.
Yeah, that definitely would be a curious one to look at. Let's see.
Yeah, you never know. It could be a Burgonzi.
Yeah, exactly. So here, this one's an interesting lot. A violin by Carlo Antonio Testore, Milan, circa 1750, labeled as such, sold with certificate of Dimitri Gindin, London, of this year, 2021, 50 to 70,000. So this is the very violin that was seen at like a random country auction for like a guide price of £100 and ended up selling for, I can't quite remember, was it 35,000 or something? Do you
30,000 or 35, somewhere around that?
Yeah, exactly. So it's seen some restoration and now it's back ready for sale. So it'd be curious to see what this actually goes for, because it probably had to have quite a fair bit of money spent on it for the restoration. So there might not be that much profit in it for someone, but clearly a few different people knew what it was from the auction. So
Yeah.
I mean, I like it actually. I'm not really too keen on the back, but I definitely like the scroll a lot. So
Yeah, it's a Testore scroll, but gone way too far.
yeah, it's melted, but I like it. It's got charm, and I like the top as well, but the back not so much. But yeah, an interesting instrument, and we like the Testores, don't we? So curious
Yeah,
to
we
see.
love them. I mean, this is what you call a very typical Carlo Antonio Testore, which is very radically different from Carlo Giuseppe. But I mean, the funny thing with this is, if you look at the estimate, it's about 10 times too low. And if you're wondering why, it's exactly what it is. The condition of this is awful. The entire base side that has been reconstructed. I didn't even bother asking for a condition report. I mean, the front's probably like fucked beyond recognition.
Yeah, it's definitely seen some work. I mean, it looks in okay kind of situation now, but yeah, I think the condition report is probably curious to say the least.
Yeah, that's why we wonder exactly how much money went into this instrument just for restoration from that
Exactly.
£30,000 previous sale. So, we really hope the owner actually makes some money from this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if it kind of sells mid or high estimate, then probably it's not been too bad. But if
Yeah, I mean, given how crazy the market is, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing go over 100K.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, we'll see. We shall see indeed. So now we have a violin by Paul Cowell, Miracle 1924, with the signature Paul Cowell of Nantes, which is interesting. 35.9, so a bit long, 3,000 to 5,000 is the estimate. I keep on wanting to think that it's euros because I've just been looking at the Terezio Berlin auction and everything's been in euros, but it is in pounds. So
yeah, I mean, it's funny that we went from a Testore to this. It's just a big jump in style. I feel like these auction houses should probably start like grouping things by style instead.
yeah, yeah.
This instrument though, it looks uncannily similar to this other maker called Georges Apparoud.
Mm.
I wonder if they're basically the same but still with different labels in them. I mean, that's what they would do in my record anyways. So
Yeah, well, it's not doing anything for me, I'm afraid.
I mean, these are probably bought in as like white instrument, and these different makers will just varnish them, put their own label in it.
Yeah, no, that seems to make sense.
Mm.
Now a violin Circle of Mario Garda, Italy, circa 1970, labeled Ernesto Pavere Alivio di Ettore Soffritti and Ferrara, 35.7, 4 to 6,000 is the estimate there.
They're very confident with the labeling. I mean, a Soffritti will probably worth way more than a Mario Garda. I mean, I'm sure this is the real Mario Garda because they're everywhere and they're not that expensive.
Yeah, it's a bit orange, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, but I mean, also they're everywhere, and it's just that it's just missing an original Mario Garda certificate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Well, I think we can move on. A violin by Paulo de Barbieri, Genoa, 1925, labeled such, 35.5 in a case, 15 to 20,000 here.
It's another very Italian instrument, and I don't even say it in a good way. I'm sure it probably looks awesome in person, but
it's
just
flamboyant, I would say.
Yeah,
the aesthetics are flamboyant. Yeah, this is a kind of instrument that I think you can't really judge it from pictures. I think you do have to see it in person, but it's slightly eccentric.
Some of them, yeah, some of them look amazing in person for whatever reason. They look ugly in like auction pictures sometimes.
It's definitely interesting, but one to keep an eye on just for curiosity's sake. Here we go. A good, another fine instrument, a violin by Camilli, Mantua, circa 1745. Was this not in the last auction? I think this particular one, and it didn't sell. I think.
Was it
the same one? I think so.
I mean, there's so many of them. Could be.
Yeah, I'm confused. But 35.1, anyways. The length of back, certificate of J&A beer. 1991, which should have been just when Charles Beer was still there, I think. So that's a good certificate. 90 to 120 thousand.
I'm not sure if we should be shitting on other dealers.
Oh no, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just kind of saying that obviously people regard Charles Beer's certificate, so this is of the time that he definitely probably would have issued that. I would have suspected. Not that I'm an expert. So
what's noticeable on this one is it's clearly a Camilli's personal model compared to some of his Pietro Boneri of Mantua model, which I don't think there's a price difference really, but it's just interesting to point out. And you can see that bit of that almost I don't know if you call it a De Jesu influence to it. And what's funny is you see it has a 1736 label, but they believe it's circa 1745. So yeah, I wonder if it's actually a De Jesu influence or somewhere, or maybe influence from Testore. But this is what you call it, a personal model, Camilli. And so very typical Camilli as well.
Yep.
High arching. The arching is so high that it's you can see it touching the fingerboard.
Yeah, it is. Also, the ribs seem quite high. Or is that maybe a bit misleading? But
which is let's see. This is a bit problematic from my experience, but I mean it all depends. I've heard of Camillis with the same arching sounding absolutely amazing, but typically with a higher arching instrument, we want a slightly lower rib and much thinner rib, so that the volume of the body remains the same, and then you also kind of keep that flexibility of the ribs. So you want low ribs and much more thin down ribs. But these all depends, and what I said could be complete bullshit, but that's typically how they're viewed. So this instrument will be something you want to go try out in person. It could either sound amazing or sound pretty dead. But sound is none of our concern, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. But no, interesting enough. I like them, but I'm not 100% sold, but definitely interesting.
Yeah, if you look at the back, you also see a Camilli signature. Is the the lot 23. Lot 23. There you go.
Yeah. So I'm lost in the ether.
Yeah, you can see that bit of an artificial wear to the middle of that instrument.
Okay,
What you see on not only Camilli, apparently, you also see this on some other Mantuan instruments, but most typically on Camillis.
Yeah, good info for looking out for some on eBay. Lot 24, a violin, South Germany, 18th century, labeled David Tekla, 35.3, 4 to 6,000 is the estimate on this one. Quite like this actually.
I can kind of understand why the restorer will want to shove a Tekla label in it, but then of course it's not a Tekla.
Yeah, it's I like it. I think I quite like it from the front. So.
Very interesting looking. I like this way better than most of the generic Steiner or cloth German instrument.
Yeah, I like the proportions. I like the F-hole placing from a purely aesthetic point of view. And let's move on. A violin attributed to Giovanni Tononi, Italy, 18th century. The head probably later, labeled Antonius and Hieronymus Armati, 35.3, 30 to 40,000 pounds. We are in the big zone. This is actually an interesting looking creature.
Yeah, I wonder what this actually is. Why would they think so? Because they didn't say it's an Italian instrument, but I assume that's what they're hinting at for with the estimate. So it will be probably quite interesting to see what Dendro says to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a bit of that Italian vibe to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potential there, potential. And then a violin by Jean-Baptiste Villon, your favorite man, Paris 1842. 35.8 is the length of back, a Rampol certificate, 110 to 160,000. Is this a new one, or is this one that was in the last auction? Because I don't recall it.
There's so many Vions on every auction. And for this one, I even suspect the bottom locator pin has been replaced. It's a bit of a random fact.
You're going to give away the secrets there.
Yeah.
Close, but
I wonder what else has been replaced, because this one definitely has condition issue for the estimate. So
yeah, looks okay. Yeah, I don't have
could
many
be
other comments.
a sound post crack somewhere. You had to look at the condition report for this.
Yeah, I haven't ventured into that.
Yeah, I wonder what the issue with this is. It's almost like an auction thing, you know. If you look at the instrument and you're like, the first thing you ask is what's broken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true.
But
Well, yeah,
very typical, you know, Strat model view. Everything kind of like falls into in line. Besides that bottom locator pins obviously been replaced.
yeah. Well, one for you to keep an eye on anyway, for your records. And now a violin, England, late 19th century, labeled Guadagnini, 35.9 length of back there, 5 to 10,000. That's quite a broad estimate there.
I mean, it makes sense. It's still a nice old instrument, a bit on the long side. No, it's always these kind of English instruments just always mess with me. It has like some sort of it almost gives you a hope that you're picking up some like big Cremonese stuff. But then if you look closely, it doesn't. Things start to fall apart. Like for this one, you can see how far the purfling is to the edge. Broad corner works, which is okay, but very nice purfling. But then, if you look at the purfling channel, it's nowhere near as precise and decisive as like some of the Cremonese works. Interesting, but the F holes are a bit rough. I mean, sloppy, but could either be wear or just how it's made. So yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a bit of an uncharted or not properly researched category of instruments. You see them on every auction, but you just can't quite tell what they are.
Definitely has some charm though, I think.
It means very nice, very well made. If you look at that scroll, the scroll channels, it's this is my judge of quality. The first thing I'll look at is the scroll channel. If you look at the little end there. If you look at Guillaume, his whole workshop standards, that plate has to be absolutely clean. If you look at the Poggi in the current Teresio auction, you also see that it's just there. Not only is it the little delta minimized, it doesn't even exist. This one almost has that, so you can tell this is some established maker, and the perf is just also amazing. So if this field is properly researched, you can probably put some English name on it. That'll be nice.
Yeah, definitely. It has charm. It has charm. And then we have a violin ascribed to Eugenio Degani, early 20th century, with the Degani label, 35.6 in case, sold with certificate of Hans Edler, Munich, 1968. Interesting back, 7 to 10,000.
I wonder if the purfling has been replaced on this one.
It's certainly a bold looking instrument, isn't it?
Or in our book, in our language, interesting looking instrument.
Yeah, definitely. Curious one. Yeah, very. Oh, yeah, this double purfling, interesting, but
Yeah.
doubling right next to each other.
Yeah. Do you think the patina on the back is made by a screwdriver?
Yeah, it's yeah, a curious one, definitely curious.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. It's interesting. And moving on, violin by Francesco Goffrilla,
Here we go.
circa 1730, unlabeled, 35.3 in case with certificate of J&A beer, dated 1988. That is definitely Charles Beer territory. 160 to 220,000. That is quite a stunning looking back, really.
I mean, if you look at the scroll and the overall form, it's like undoubtedly a Goffrilla. But the F holes is like every Goffrilla has a different F hole, and the F hole of this one almost looks a bit like the Testore that we saw earlier.
Yeah, it's definitely curious. Yeah, I like it a lot more from the back than I do the front, I have to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know, the back, maybe because of that little reflection, it looks almost kind of cheap, but you can tell, you can see the kind of wood he chose is this sort of a big thick flame. I mean white flame wood. And honestly, I like any instruments with flames of the back pointing upward. It's a personal preference. So yeah, this is definitely very nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And
Do you
now
think it can sell for a little more?
well, we'll have to see. Yeah, it's quite possible.
Yeah.
Onto some bows here, so we can blitz through this a bit. Silver mounted violin bow.
Wait, a quick comment. I just realized it's a
Oh, yeah.
Francesco Goffrilla, not a Matteo Goffrilla. No wonder, because that scroll looks just like a Francesco Goffrilla I've seen many years ago. I'm like, I've seen that scroll somewhere. Then I realized, oh, it's not a Matteo Goffrilla, it's Francesco. So, and Francesco Goffrilla, everyone has every Francesco Goffrilla has a different looking F holes. So
yeah, no, it's definitely a curious one. We should see how much it goes for.
yeah.
Then onwards to bows, silver mounted violin bow by Morison Frere, Mirecourt, circa 1950, 61.5 grams, 1200 to 1800 is the estimate there. Silver mounted violin bow by James Tubbs, London, circa 1880, round stick, ebony frog, 55.5 grams, 1500 to 2500 there. And a golden tortoiseshell mounted violin bow by Albert Nürnberger, Mark Nikirk in 1930, 60 grams. It was sold at Sotheby's, a slot 27 in the Albert Cooper collection in 2008, 4 to 6,000. Once again, I still kind of not sure about any of this kind of tortoiseshell or ivory CITES kind of stuff, but people seem to collect them, I guess. A golden tortoiseshell mounted fleur-de-lis violin bow by W.E. Hill and Sons, London, 1939, octagonal stick, tortoiseshell frog, 62 grams. So that's interesting. They've got a CITES warning there. So that's curious. And then a golden tortoiseshell mounted violin bow by Arthur Richard Bultitude, Hawkhurst, 1970, octagonal stick, tortoiseshell frog with gold roses, 63.5 grams. So CITES restrictions there again, 1800 to 2500. Gold mounted violin bow by William Salcho, New York, circa 1990, octagonal stick. 61.5 grams, 2,500 to 3,500 there. And a silver mounted violin bow by W. Hills and Sons, London, circa 1920. Round stick, ebony frog, 61 grams, 1,200 to 1,800 there. And a nickel mounted violin bow by Louis Joseph Morizot, Miracle, circa 1930, 60 grams. Certificate from Cabinet d'Architier, 1500 to 2000 there. And a silver mounted violin bow by Joseph Henri, Paris, circa 1685, 58 grams. Sold with certificate of Pierre Guillaume, Brussels, 14,000 to 18,000. So that's a good high-end bow there. A silver mounted violin bow, School of Pierre Simon, Paris, circa 1865. A round stick, ebony frog, 59 grams, sold with certificate of Cabinet d'Architier. Ivory faceplate on that, 2,500 to 3,500. There was an interesting bow, actually, the one just before. If we just go back to this one that I'm now blind, this one here, Max, if you mixed it, this silver mounted violin bow by Joseph Henri. So that's quite a interesting one there.
It looks very stylish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know nothing about bows, so
nice.
Take whatever I have to say about them with a grain of salt.
Yep, nice pin button there, and the old Pierre Guillaume certificate that we know well. I've just done this one, the Pierre Simon School. So silver mounted violin bow by Joseph Fonclause, Paris, circa 1830, 61 grams. Pierre Guillaume again, ivory faceplate, 12 to 18,000. Looks like a very kind of tidy bow there for sure. Nickel mounted violin bow by Nicholas Mayer, Mircore, 1850, 61 grams. Another letter from the Cabinet d'Architier, 4 to 6,000. Ivory faceplate again. A lot of people are changing the ivory faceplates now for synthetic material or bone, I suppose, because it's just a pain in the arse really to go around with anything CITES controlled these days. Silver mounted violin bow by Pierre Méline, Mircore, 1920. Stamped Emile Houchard, 58.5 grams. Pierre Guillaume again, 1,200 to 1,800 is the estimate. Nickel mounted violin bow, probably by Louis Joseph Morizot. Mircore, 1925, 60.5 grams, 1,500 to 2,000. A gold mounted violin bow, not family, Mark Kirkin, circa 1840, 63.5 grams. Certificate of Isaac Salter, New York, 2019. The bow is from the family of Dr. Benham W. Fox. See lot 206 for details, 1,800 to 2,500 there. And a gold mounted violin bow by Johannes S. Finkel, Brienz, circa 1995. Round stick, ebony frog, gold rings of pearl eyes, 64.5 grams, 2 to 3,000 there. And we are on a silver mounted violin bow, Circle of James Tubbs, London, early 20th century. Round stick, plain ebony and silver, 60 grams, 1,500 to 2,500. And a nickel and ivory mounted violin bow by Emile Francois Houchard, circa 1925, 62 grams. Pierre Guillaume, back with a vengeance again on another certificate. Ivory frog, 1,500 to 2,000 is the estimate there. We're on to instruments. Property from the collection of Martin Lovett, a cello, France, mid-19th century, unlabeled. Cello was Martin Lovett's principal cello from 1998 when he sold the Colmondelli Estrade, I probably completely butchered that, in 2009 when he bought his Giacomo Rivolta. So £8,000 to £12,000.
I was gonna say he sold a Strat by a Rivolta. No doubt that the other one sounded better, but well, still could have made more money if he sold it today.
Yeah, that's true. Well, looks interesting enough. I'm not too knowledgeable about cellos or anything really, but interesting figure on the back for sure. 8,000 to 12,000 is the estimate. We'll move on. A property from Martin Lovett again, a cello after a Revolta by Michael Watson, Holmfirth 2012, labeled as such, 10 to 15,000. This instrument was made as a copy of his Revolta cello there. Interesting F-hole, an F-hole placement. It's very deep ribs, isn't it? Curious one. No comment, Max?
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about cellos.
Okay. But if you see something nice, this is one of the most interesting lots, actually, I think, in this whole auction. A cello scroll by Giovanni Floriano Guidantus, Bologna, early 18th century.
Time to drop £12,000 for a cello scroll.
8 to 12,000. The scroll was attached to the Stradivari cello circa 1698 when it was sold to Martin Lovett at Sotheby's in June 1988 for a record 682,000. There you go. So it's got some provenance there. Very interesting.
Wait a minute. It says Lovett found an original Strad scroll for the cello. Oh, okay. I read it as he found the original scroll for his cello. I'm like, that's impossible. There's no
Well, you just couldn't prove. Well, I think you'd struggle to prove it, but he found a Strad scroll, so
which is amazing. You wonder where that Strad scroll came from. I mean, is that an actual Strad scroll or is it a Lupol scroll?
But the question is, did they manage to find the Guidantus cello this scroll? Does someone have that cello that this scroll belongs to? Quite possibly.
Guidantus made the scroll just for that Strad.
That is true. But I like to think that somewhere there's a Guidantus cello waiting for its head to be returned.
With a Strad scroll.
Yeah, but a different Strad scroll, and it just goes on.
I'm curious, how did you manage to find a Strad scroll?
Yeah, no, that is quite an interesting story. A few more bows: a silver-mounted cello bow by W. Hill and Son, circa 1920, 2 to 3,000 there. Let's just kind of go through. Silver-mounted cello bow, circle of Jerome JTL, Mirko, early 20th century, 1,500 to 2,000 is the estimate there. A wooden bow box from the shop of James Tubbs, bearing address labels of James Tubbs and Martin Lovett, 50 to 80 pounds from the Lovett collection. And a book.
Whole collection again.
Yeah, Charles Beer, Antonio Stradivari, 1993, limited edition of 300 copies, 300 to 500 pounds there. That's a Lovett collection again. Charles Beer again, another copy of Antonio Stradivari book there. Another Martin Lovett, Albert Caressa, Le Lever de Soleil, signed by Alfred Hill, 60 to 80 pounds. More stuff about good old Antonio.
Funny how a cellist owns so many like luthier books or like violin books. I mean, this guy must be really into his instrument as well.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, I see. He died last year. That's why. 2020. 93.
Wow. There's a kind of book on Caressa and Francais, or by Caressa and Francais. Paul Child, The Bowmakers of the Cat Family, New York, 1996, 150 to 250 pounds. And property from the collection of Martin Lovett again. Ernest Enduring, How Many Strads, Chicago, 1945, 200 to 300 pounds.
Just about all the big name books we can think of. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a violin maker of the Guarneri family.
Probably, yeah. His Herbert Goodkind, Violin Iconography of Antonio Stradivari, New York, 1972. Interesting. Fridolin Hammer, Meister Italienischer Geigenbaukunst, Stuttgart. So there you go. 250, 350 is the estimate there.
Dude has a Hammer book. Like this dude he's into the hardware side of things. It's not like I know violinists and cellists that know nothing about instrument, and this dude has all the hardcore books. He has like the Hammer books, the Hill books.
Oh yeah, definitely interested in the literature. So Walter Hammer, Meister Italienischer Geigenbaukunst. That's probably really badly pronounced, but yeah, another book there. That is actually an interesting book. The Hill book on Antonio Stradivari, his life and work. Another Hill book. This is the Violin Makers of the Guarneri family. Yeah, you got it. But to be fair, like this book is in almost every kind of fine musical instrument auction at least once. So I'm not going to give you too many prizes for that one. Hill and Sons Le Messi, the famous violin. Nice blue, that is. Hug and Co. Le Grefful. So more Antonio Strad stuff there.
It's like if you're a cellist, a violinist, and you arm yourself with knowledge, that you won't be fooled by any dealers.
Oh, I bet this is an interesting book. Max Moller, The Violin Makers of the Low Countries, Amsterdam, 1955. That'd be good. I'd be interested in that. Interested in the kind of Dutch school and all of that kind of ilk. So that'd be an interesting book, actually. Quite like to read that.
Auction houses should read this book. They should all read this book.
Yeah.
So they can put some more names on stuff.
Exactly. Joseph Roder, Bows for Musical Instruments, 1959. I see that book around a fair bit. René Van's Dictionnaire Universel de Luthiers, Brussels, 1951.
Is this the same book that's the black cover English version, the Dictionary of Luthiers?
I don't know. It's a good question, actually. It's a good question. Etienne Vatelot, Les Archettes Français, 4 to 600, volume 1 and 2. Yeah, it was a lot of books. 2 violin books, Lone Exhibition, Stringed Instruments and Bows, New York, and Cremona. Okay. 5 books, so Ealing Strings. They used to publish a few things.
Sorry, I mean, I was just looking at who that guy is. What's his name? Etienne Vatelot.
Oh, yes.
I remember that the shop of Juan Paulo is called Vatelot Juan Paulo, and it turns out it's the same guy, but he's dead.
Right. Okay. Well, so moving on. Oh, we've lost the page. That's interesting. What happened there? We've
yeah, withdrew a lot or something.
Oh, is that? Let's yeah, what happened there?
73, 74. Which law were you on?
I was on one of the books somewhere.
Yeah.
And then it's the pictures that it didn't like. Oh, it doesn't like this picture. Okay, so for some reason this picture, a painting by Bernard Dunstane titled Quartet in B flat, that it doesn't like that. Can we go to 74? Yes, 74 works. A signed photograph of Fritz Kreisler, 1924. We can probably skip through this stuff. A signed photograph of Misha Ellman. Okay. And a painting by Derek Hill titled Concert at Aldeburgh. Okay, interesting.
Time to sell my paintings on Ingles.
Yeah, I think you should. Well, you could do stuff like this. A print by E. Wolf of the Amadeus Quartet, 1979. I think you could churn some stuff out.
Yeah, but I mean, these are all part of the cellist collection. So
yeah, well, I'm sure you can do it. A print of a Paganini concert poster for 1831.
I would not hang that in my living room. I may hang that in my bathroom so that, you know, I'm taking a shit into Paganini's eyes.
A print of Paganini there. And a print of Paganini again. So I think we can really skip through. I didn't actually realize there's so much of this stuff. I must have just ignored it all. A print of a Paganini letter. So he really did like Paganini.
Yeah.
Okay. Another print of Paganini there. Curious. This is not so interesting to us, I'm afraid. A signed photograph of David Popper. There you go. Let's skip this. A print of Paganini again. Another print of Paganini.
But he's a cellist. That's the funny part.
Yeah, another print of Paganini. Getting slight interesting vibes. A letter from Fritz Kreisler to Mr. Evans. Letter concerns a scandal surrounding the discovery that Vitali's Preludium and Allegro was actually written by Kreisler. Whew, outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. That is actually probably an interesting letter, to be fair. But,
this is not an isolated case. It's actually very well documented that Kreisler will write these really nice music, but people wouldn't listen to them if they're written by Kreisler. So he claimed that he's some sort of a musicologist that discovered new pieces by these like obscure composers. which is funny. That's probably why he owned this letter, because it's almost a funny one.
Yeah. Here's one for you. A tracing of a letter from J.B. Villaume to Hippolyte Sylvestre, Paris, circa 1871.
I'll frame this and put it in my living room.
Yeah, exactly. That's for you. A letter from Joseph Joachim to an unknown recipient even. A letter discusses attempts to arrange chamber music in a forthcoming performance of a Meyerbeer opera. Interesting. No scandal though, unfortunately. We like a bit of scandal. A print of the Hill family labels.
Okay.
Not so exciting.
I was gonna say, if you own a collection of Hill family labels, you're not a cellist. You want to open the shop. I assume this guy wanted to open the shop.
Yeah. A signed page of a Chrysler concert program. There you go. That's one for you. A cello, possibly Italy, 19th century, unlabeled, 6,000 to 8,000.
Like this one.
We have thankfully reached the shore, the instrument shore. We were stuck in the waves for a bit, but we're back.
Yeah, nice. It's got that Italian cello varnish, and the scroll is amazing.
Yeah, looks interesting. And a cello, circle of Jacques Bouquet, Paris, early 18th century, labeled as such, in a case. 16 to 20,000 pounds. Yeah, free cello case. Yeah, looks interesting. And a cello attributed to Stefano Scarampella, labeled for 1867 in a case, 15 to 20,000 there. Interesting gouge marks on the scroll. I like that. I'm a fan. A cello after Montagnana by Dario Aguzzi, Vidigolfo 2020, in case, sold a certificate of the maker, undated though, 6,000 to 8,000.
You should look at the scroll. It's bold and clean. I like this one.
Yeah,
it's got that. It's almost got that, because I know it's a Montagnana copy, so it's almost got that Montagnana look to the scroll as well.
yeah,
Very nice.
looks good.
Only 6,000 to 8,000.
Yeah, it's not too bad really.
Yeah, I wonder what's broken about it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's made in 2020.
Yeah, it's new. It's new. Yeah.
That's a good deal. That's a nice modern cello.
Mm.
You imagine how much a shop would sell you one of these for.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. A cello workshop of Thomas Kennedy, London, circa 1820, 16 to 20,000. Good old Thomas Kennedy there.
Yeah. That's nice. These English cellos, they are generally more desirable than English violins for whatever reason.
Definitely. Yep. 100%. I'd agree there. I would say probably arguably an English cello is probably next in line after an Italian cello in terms of value. I would say. I don't think it's outrageous to state that. I guess potentially some of the German or maybe Viennese or something pretty up there as well. But
yeah.
A cello by Paul Blanchard, ex Jean Bedetti, Lyon 1906, in case, sold certificate of Rampel, a good old Rampel, 25 to 35,000 pounds. This instrument was chosen by French cellist Jean Bedetti, who was the principal cellist of the Boston Symphony Orchestra from 1919 to 1948. There we
Very
go.
cool scroll. Just unfortunately, you don't see too many people playing on the French cello.
Oh, I did actually forget about French cellos, actually. Sometimes I forget about France. I guess, the French cellos equally, I guess, are quite, can be quite desired as well. 25 to 35,000.
I'm sure whatever made by Villaume is desirable.
Oh, yeah, a Villaume cello, of course, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I actually just forget about France, but France does exist. So
this is significantly more expensive than a Blanchard violin.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. A cello by Lorenzo Ventapane, Naples, good old Naples, circa 1850. with a Galliano label, sold with certificate of Eric Lot, Cremona, 2019, 100 to 150,000 pounds.
Nice. Yeah, you don't see a lot of lot certificates around. This guy's based in Italy, if I remember right.
Oh, well, it does say Cremona, so
Yeah.
I would believe that.
'Cause, I don't see a lot of lot certificate on auctions, but a lot of private sale or dodgy sale have a block certificate. I wonder why. I mean, nothing against Eric Bloch. I mean, he wrote a lot of stuff. I just don't know like what kind of instrument typically acquire his certificates. I mean, also typically you don't send an instrument to Cremona to get certified. You send it to like London or New York. So that's interesting. Which I guess could be, you know, how if you buy an instrument from Italy, typically, you know, if you buy an old instrument from Italy, you don't go through that London route, then that's probably when you have a block certificate. And you leave Europe from Italy, and you don't leave, you know, not through London. I don't know, just speculation, but
Yeah, no, definitely.
look at this. Filius Andrea cello. This will be like
this is the big
rarest cello you can think of, besides like there's a whole discussion about like if Dagesu made any cello. I mean, he made one, but has a Filius Andrea label. This is like the last maker in the Guarneri family that made any cello. And imagine playing on the Guarneri cello, like, dude. I would respect someone who plays on the Guarneri cello more than someone who plays on the Goffrilla Strat, because it's like I would respect anyone playing on the Pietro Guarneri from Mantua, because there are just not that many of them, and they're, you know, monstrous instruments.
Definitely. Well, Heckingx Wenzinger, Cremona 1713. In case documents, it's got Etienne Bellot, certificate 1961. Maison Joseph Hell from 1919. Chardon and Phil 1919. Another Vattelot Hecking certificate 1919. So a lot of provenance here with this one. So yeah, interesting. 650 to 850,000. It's a good top lot there. Very interesting. Now we're on to bows again. A nickel mounted cello bow by Francois Lot, 80 grams. Certificate of Pierre Guillaume, 1500 to 2000 there. And a silver mounted cello bow, circa 1900. Ivory faceplate, 1500 to 2000. And a silver mounted cello bow, probably by Emile Francois Houchard, Miracle 1930, 83 grams, ivory faceplate, 1500 to 2000 pounds. And a silver mounted cello bow ascribed to Joseph Lefleur, France, circa 1820. Sold a certificate of DS Book and Co. New York, 1988. And a letter of valuation, 1000 to 1500 is the estimate there. A silver mounted cello bow by Eugene Sartori. This is going to be the big one. Paris circa 1910, 79 grams, with the Cabinet d'Archetier certificate. A similar example of this maker can be seen on page 116 in volume 3 of La Archette by B. Millant and J.F. Raffin, 28 to 35,000 pounds estimate. That is a serious cello bow. Silver mounted cello bow, workshop of Victor Fatique, Paris 1920, 82.5 grams, 4,000 to 6,000 is the estimate. A silver and ivory mounted cello bow, probably by Louis Gillette, Paris circa 1940, 5 to 8,000 is the estimate there. Silver and ivory mounted cello bow by John Dodd, Q, circa 1810, not far from where I grew up, another place. Ivory frog, CITES, be aware, 2 to 3,000 is the estimate. Silver mounted cello bow by Pierre Simon, Paris 1860. Sold with certificate of Etienne Vertlot, 40 to 60,000 pounds. That's a very serious bow there, very serious indeed. And now we're on to more instruments. So, property from the collection of Maurice and Martha Clare, a violin by Richard Tobin, London, circa 1820, 35.4. Letter William Hill, 6 to 8,000 there.
Are you familiar with this maker?
Yes, I have seen a Viola, and I think possibly another instrument by this maker, but definitely viola. Yes, I know this maker.
Oh, it looks very nice. I mean, it almost has some parallel to the Fend. Not that they look the same, but there are some, that late English character to it, and very Strat influenced, and they got the pins. It's like that's when like English violin making has gone full Cremonese.
Yeah, I
That's
think it's a
what I see.
very solid making there. Nice kind of example. So I think you could go worse than pick up a Tobin. I think they're quite nice.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. A violin, probably by Daniel Parker, London, circa 1720.
Ooh.
The head later with a Viome label, 36.1. So it's pretty long, 3 to 4,000. A pretty horrible kind of, I presume, repair to the back there, kind of.
Yeah.
V, or maybe not. Actually, I don't know.
That's horrible. I give you that. I
I mean,
mean, look at
it has it on kind of both sides, so I'm a bit confused as to maybe that was, well, I don't really know. I think I'm a bit speechless, really.
yeah, I mean, back crack for sure, back samples crack. Yeah, the triangular inserts. I mean, the bottom one is not an insert. Bottom one, if you look at the flame, it matches. So the bottom one is really another graft, a stripe shaped graft, but the top is definitely a whole triangular section completely replaced. But it makes you think if there's some sort of some sort of print, some sort of how do you call it, a family crest on it. That's
Yeah.
why that's why they cut the whole section off and they made a whole V-shaped thing on it. I mean, probably not even from the original wood. Yeah, I mean, I would find a more talented restorer, have this thing fixed up, and that back sound, that looks like a back sound post crack to me.
Yeah, it could
So
well be. Yeah, be interesting to see the condition
I
of.
was gonna say, I mean, do the recite the thing, say how this the English strat, but like just look at this instrument, like yeah, that's worth 3,000 to 4,000.
Yeah, I mean, it may well sound quite nice, but it's a bit of an eyesore. I'm not sure I would really go near it, but interesting anyway, nevertheless. A curious one. A violin by John Betts, London, 1791, with 2 violin bows in a case, 4 to 6,000 there.
Again, wonder what those bows are. I mean, if they're best bows or like Dodd bows, like the bows themselves will probably be worth a few thousand.
Well, I can't imagine that they would include the bows if they're any good. I mean, any time that I've bought kind of an instrument with a bow at an auction, most of the time they've been pretty terrible, but you never know.
Yeah, but do you know how Ingles do this? Would they suggest consigning the bows as separate lots?
Well, definitely if they kind of meet their whatever their value threshold is, and considering that some of the bows have had a £1,000 estimate, I would assume that they deem the bows to be a value less than £1,000, I would think.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, it's 500 pounds. If you get 2 of them, it's still 1,000 pounds.
yeah, it's true. It is hard to know. I'm not quite sure, really. But anyway,
Yeah.
violin by John Betts there. Violin attributed to Carlo Tononi, 18th century, unlabeled, £5,000 to £7,000 there.
Is you wonder what this is? Could it be German? It does look like some of the German ones we've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting enough. Tough one, tough to say, but interesting enough and not too unreasonable a price. Onwards, a violin attributed to George Panormo, London, mid-19th century, 35.9, 5 to 7,000. That's quite striking back there. That's yeah, an interesting. That's a max back, I think. Do you agree or not really?
Oh, what was it?
Is your kind of back to a degree?
Well, I've seen better, but that definitely looks nice. sometimes it's just you look at the purfling and you like in this case the purfling looks so clean compared to the rest of the instrument. It just has that cheap vibe for some reason. I mean, you don't know what kind of work has been done on it, but everything else definitely looks interesting. Nice wood for sure.
Yeah.
Just wonder what it is. I mean, it says attribute to George Panormo. Like they wouldn't even list it as a school of Panormo. So
yeah,
curious. Yeah.
Yeah. Another one to watch there. Bows again. A silver mounted violin bow by George Darby, Bristol, circa 1900. 12 to 1800. We're just kind of going through the bows. Bows are interesting, but otherwise this would be going on for like 5 hours otherwise. A silver mounted violin bow by James Dodd, London, circa 1855, 55 grams, 1200 to 1800 there. 10 silver mounted violin bows stamped Sves, Dodd, Zapesi, etc. Some of the bows in this lot contain ivory faceplates which are subject to restrictions regarding import or export. 1200 to 1800 pounds. I mean, that's quite interesting. Further images. Let's see what we've got here.
So they would sell like cheapo stuff.
Well, this is kind of unusual, but if it's a job lot from the same person, then I guess it makes sense. So, but I mean, potentially that's quite interesting. That bow is quite interesting.
I just want to say, after you're done with this lot, before you jump to the next one, just be prepared. You're gonna love the next one.
Am I actually?
Yeah, you're gonna absolutely love the next lot. But let's finish this one first. I want to say some bows definitely look nice. If you buy it for like £2,000, you can probably make some money.
Yeah, I would. Well, if there's 10 all silver mounted, then yeah, certainly. But I suspect he'll go up to a bit more than that. But
next one's gonna be your favorite lot of the whole auction.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I hope it's from Naples. Oh, right. Okay, a bow. Wow. Yeah, this is a bit ridiculous. This one. Ex Amaryllis Fleming, ex Paul Rosenbaum, an ivory mounted violin bow attributed to Antonio Stradivari. Wow, I actually didn't even see this before, to be honest, because I kind of skipped past the bows. But wow, Italy, early 18th century, fluted stick, later carved ivory frog, later ivory adjuster, 59 grams, sold with letter from Beer Violins, 2021.
If Charles Pierre think this is a Stradivari bow, like what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, well, we can't. Where is the? Why can we not see this letter?
Yeah. Look at that! Look at the head of that scroll. I'm like,
this is this is giving me ideas to make bows now.
Dude, make a freaking Strat bow. I mean,
yeah, this is interesting. Okay, pretty weird.
Save the pictures, dude. Like this is.
I mean, this is very interesting. I bet this one will go up quite a bit. I mean, it's only attributed to, but yeah, I don't know. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, it also says that the adjuster has been fitted after the front.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. An ivory mounted violin bow by John Dodd, Q, circa 1790. An earlier kind of Dodd bow there, 49 grams, 2 to 3,000. Interesting kind of head and frog there. Very good, very good. An ivory mounted violin bow, probably by John Dodd. Yeah, similar kind of head and frog there, circa 1800. Kramer style head, yeah, stamped Dodd, 58 grams, 1200 to 1800. Quite like it. Looks pretty cool. 2 ivory mounted violin bows, England, like 18th century. 1200 to 1800. Further images.
Dodgy head I've seen.
Yeah, it's a little bit cute. That's a bit more of a standard head, but that interesting. But I do quite like these old ivory mounted bows, other than the fact that you can't travel anywhere with them. An ivory mounted violin bow, England, like 18th century, Kramer head, 1500 to 2000. And they had a lot of these bows, it seems. This is another interesting one. An ivory mounted violin bow, probably England, like 18th century. 12 to 1800. These will be popular. There's a lot of people that really like these kind of early bows, so I'm sure they'll do quite well. Silver mounted violin bow, probably by James Dodd, mid 19th century, 1800 to 2500 there.
I'm just still shocked by what's going on with the Strat bow, because I was just looking up on like Cozio. There is no record of a Strat bow.
Well, there is this bow that's in Spain, isn't there? The really like decorative inlaid bow, which they say I think is by Stradivari. Look that up. It's out absolutely outrageous looking, like the workmanship on it. Look up Stradivari Violin Bow. I think it's in Spain for the Royal
Violin
Collection.
Bow attributed to Stradivari workshop. Oh, I see. Wow, it's like completely covered in.
Yeah, it's quite outrageous. I think it's in the Spanish Royal Collection. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's quite outrageous. And then here we have a plainish looking silver mounted violin bow, 1500 to 2000 there.
Even that is just attributed to the Stradivari workshop because there is no known sample of Strad bows to compare to.
No, exactly. Yeah, but that one is quite an interesting bow, I think.
It's funny that Ingles didn't even like try to market that Stradivari bow.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of a gray area that, but
yeah, and you wouldn't think Pierre is a bow person, like he will like certify Strad bows. So he will certify bows, yeah.
It's definitely curious. A silver mounted violin bow, Circle of Charles Nicholas Bazin, circa 1900, 1500 to 2500. And a silver mounted viola bow, Tub School, England, circa 1900, 67 grams, 1200 to 1800 pounds there. Some books. Charles Beer, Antonio Stradivari, 1993. Peter Bidolph, Giuseppe Guarneri del Gesù. There you go, volumes 1 and 2, 400 to 600 pounds. Sure, that's popular. And another copy.
Which lot are we on? Sorry, I'm kind of.
We're on 129. Yeah. There's 2 lots of this Giuseppe Guarneri del Gesù book by Peter.
600. Don't buy it. There are reprints that are cheaper, but it's funny. So Peter Bida actually did a Chinese publisher actually reached out to Peter Bida and they've published a Chinese version. And I don't know if they're still printing, but I think it's a little hard to buy the Bida book now.
Yeah.
And I remember it has more than 2 volumes. So
yeah, I'm not sure. And here we have a book, Carlo Chiesa and Dwayne Rosengard, The Stradivari Legacy. Yep. And Paul Charles, The Bow Makers of the Picap Family, New York, 1996. I think we saw that already, but that one was from the other collection. John Dilworth, Andrew Fairfax, and John Milnes, The Voller Brothers. That'd be an interesting book to read as well. Good old Voller Brothers. John Dilworth, Andrew Fairfax, Tim Baker, The British Violin. That is actually a great book if you are interested in the British violin. And Benjamin Banks' book is good. I actually own a copy of that. It's very cool. John Dilworth, Andrew Fairfax, Tim Baker, The British Violin again with the Voller Brothers book, and David Rapture, Violin Making in Scotland. If you like Scottish violins like I do, then that is a very good book as well that I also have. It's very nice. Ernest Doring, How Many Strads? I think we've seen this one already. So how many books on How Many Strads?
Same How Many Strads as the one we just saw.
Yeah, Walter Hammer book again. So we're out of the special a bit here. Andrew Hooker, Mr. Black's Violins. You see that in most auctions as well. Roger Millant, JB Own. This is what I need to get you when the YouTube channel goes interstellar. That would be my gift to you when we get 1,000 subscribers. Sylvette Milliot, Le Luthier Parisien. So there you go, the Paris Luthiers. Etienne Vertlot, L'Archette Français. We've seen that again. 4 Centuries of Violin Making there. Sotheby's, actually probably quite an interesting book. Boston, 2006. From the Sotheby's archive. 3 violin books, so on Guadagnini and Del Gesù, and some New York exhibitions.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, I was a little behind you, but I just saw that in the 3 violin books, there's the nice Del Gesù book. People probably would buy that lot just for that Del Gesù book.
Oh, it's quite possible, yeah. Another 3 violin books here about Arthur Bultitude and the Hill tradition. Some other stuff to do with the Hill party. Photograph and autograph of Joseph Szigeti. There you go, wonderful. A photograph and autograph of Ephraim Zimbalist. Very good. And a photograph of and autograph of Misha Elman. Signed photograph of Sandor Veig, probably pronouncing that completely wrong. Signed photograph of Alfredo Campoli. Ingles do a lot of this stuff, I've noticed, actually. A photograph and autograph of Henrik Zering. Probably butchered that one. A leather violin case by Hills and Son. Lovely. A wooden music stand, 1,500 to £2,000.
Man, every auction they try to sell a music stand.
Yes.
Way too heavy.
Ah, we're back in the good territory. A viola by Umberto Lanaro, Padua, 1973, in case, certificate of the maker, dated 4th of December 2013, £4,500 to £6,000 there.
Nice. I didn't quite see it, but yeah.
We're there. Now we're on to lot 154, a viola by Yukio Ozaki, Cremona, 1974, in case, £3,000 to £5,000.
Japanese luthier residing in Cremona. I've somehow not heard of the maker.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's from 74, so who knows what the current status is.
That's just racist. It can't be just because it's a Japanese. It's a Cremonese violin, just made in the 70s. I mean, a viola.
No, I mean, who knows if he's still working or living there? That's what I meant. That was all. A viola by Gaetano Peresci, Ferrara, 1930. 8 to 12,000 is the estimate there.
Oh, we got a Carlo Carletti here. The lot after this, yeah. I mean, nothing I can say about violas, but
yeah, a viola by Carlo Carletti, Pieve di Cento, 1915, 8 to 12,000 there. The varnish looks robust on this. So, and we continue. A viola, North Italy, circa 1910 to 20, labeled Joseph Rocca, in case, sold certificate of Florian Leonhard from 2015. I actually really like the look of this, I'll be honest. I like the back. I think it's interesting looking. No comment? No. He's silent on violas. Fear of violas.
Yeah.
Viola by Carmine de Guano, Naples, 1978. Instrument was bought from the maker by the present owner in 1978. There you go. Wow, that is curious shape. A viola circular Pietro Pallotta, Italy, circa 1800, sold with a copy of a dendro report from Peter Ratcliffe, Brighton, dated 31st of January 2017.
Come on, like, oh yeah, sorry, I was gonna see the certificate. I mean, I was like, tell me what the certificate says. But then it does. What does it say? What does our man Peter say? I can't quite see. Oh, I can see it now. 1769, 1772. What's the cross match? What doesn't say cross match?
No, they don't give you the full thing, do they? But it looks interesting.
That's what you want. You want to see the cross match.
Oh, definitely. Well, it's
no, there is a second page. You can see the second page.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. There it is. Violin Testore School. Violin probably Vinaccia, Carlo Burgonzi, Filippo Sangier. Oh, that's all Italian. So.
Yeah, not too bad. No, it's an interesting looking thing, I think, personally. Okay, Viola after Magini by Jean-Baptiste Villaume, circa 1845. In case certificate via Rampal will be provided for this lot. Well, it's a viola, so you're not interested, and it's a Magini, which is your least favorite Villaume type.
So it's a viola, so I guess being big isn't that big of an issue. I mean, you want it to be massive.
Well, actually, that's not that big for a viola, to be fair. at
Yeah.
all. So 60 to 80,000 is the estimate there. A nickel-mounted violin bow by Celestin Emile Clasquin, Paris, circa 1920. Pierre Guillaume certificate, 1500 to 2000 there. And a nickel-mounted violin bow by Louis Morizot, 1500 to 2000. Guillaume certificate. And a silver-mounted violin bow by Joseph Alfred Lamy, Paris, 1890. Certificate of Cabinet d'Archetier, 3,000 to 5,000 there. Is the estimate. Silver mounted violin bow by Claude Thomasin, Miracle, 1920. Certificate of Pierre Guillaume, 4,000 to 6,000. And a silver mounted violin bow by Victor Fatigue, Paris, circa 1915. Sold a certificate of Cabinet d'Archetier, 5,000 to 7,000 is the estimate on that one. Silver mounted violin bow by Marcel Fatigue, Paris, circa 1935, 1,500 to 2,500. There is the estimate. Nickel mounted violin bow by Eugene Cunha-Huri, Miracle, circa 1900, 1,200 to 18,000. 1800. I'm trying to be too quick. A nickel mounted violin bow by Prosper Colas, Paris, circa 1890. Sold with certificate of the cabinet again, 1,500 to 2,500. Quite a lot of lots in this auction actually. Silver mounted violin bow by JTL, Miracle, circa 1930. Certificate of
funny, the JTL bow worth more than a JTL violin.
Yeah, 1,500 to 2,000.
Wow.
That's quite.
Are they just such nice bows? Like,
yeah, that's quite curious. And then a silver mounted violin stroke viola bow by Roger Francois Lott, Miracle, circa 1960, 1,500 to 2,000. It's one of those bows where the weight is like right in the middle. It could go either way. You know, you want a heavy viola bow, a heavy violin bow, or you want a light viola bow. It's one of those random ones. You do occasionally get them. Nickel mounted child's violin bow by Victor Fatigue, Paris, circa 1920, 800 to 1,200 pounds. So even go to potentially 800 pounds on bow value. So I assume these other bows are rubbish. So we've got a page not found again. So
wonder which
what's bugged out this time. What lot were we on? I can't even remember now. We were
we're on 172, so now it's 173. Oh, it's actually a nice English bow that's not working.
Was it?
Is it? 173. Yeah, 173 is page not found.
Okay, interesting. So
173 actually looks really nice.
I mean, golden tortoiseshell mounted violin bow by John Clutterbuck, Bicester, 1978. Interesting. Okay, another tortoiseshell one. Well, let's go to 174 then, if that still exists. Silver mounted violin bow, 19th century, octagonal stick, Viome on the handle, 1,200 to 1,800. And a silver mounted violin bow by James Tubbs, London, circa 1880. I'm practicing my auction voice, 3,000 to 5,000. How fast I can do the cattle auctions in the US, and like silver mounted violin workshop with Victor Fatigue. That's why I'm practicing. Paris, circa 1920. 3,000 to 4,000 there. Guillaume certificate. Working on my auction speed. Nickel mounted violin bow by Claude Thomasin, circa 1905. Certificate of Pierre Guillaume.
A livestock auctioneer.
Yeah, exactly. 3,000 to 5,000 pounds. Well, some of the auctions that I've watched where they've got 500 lots, they go on for like 10 hours, and you just think, really, like, does it have to be that long? It seems a bit much. Silver mounted viola bow by Louis Gillette, Paris, circa 1940. 4,000 to 6,000 there. What else we got next? Oh, we're back to instruments. Wonderful. This one of your favorite makers.
Not my favorite, but just think that they're overpriced in shops. But this one's a nice example. I mean,
a violin by Charles Jean-Baptiste Mozart the First, Paris, 1897.
It's like, you know, 5,000, 8,000 is how much they're worth, but knowing that you could have picked one up for 2,000, I just wouldn't pay that much for it. But you know, if you do end up paying 5,000 for it, it's still worth it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very tidy example, isn't it? So
yeah, it's not the best. I mean, I now understand what's the problem with Colon Maison, because before I couldn't tell. Now looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I see the shortcomings to these, but they're still nice, just on alongside, and they're just so typical. Like, I've seen so many instruments looking exactly this way.
Yep.
I can already imagine what the varnish looks like in real life. It's
Yeah, exactly. You know what it's like, then.
and there's so many of them, and the name is big. Like if I can just buy one, just sell it, but it's just not all interesting to me anymore.
So here is a violin by Jacopo Brandini, Pisa 1786, in case, sold with certificate of reunion in San Boston, dated 11th of August 2021. Proceeds of the sale of this violin will be donated to the Lucas community. For more information about this organization, please click here. So there you go. This actually looks quite interesting. 14 to 18,000. Quite like this. This looks very similar to the violin that I linked you to buy for $100, but you ignored me. So
is it?
Well, no, not quite, but similar in shape and kind of plainness of the back. Yeah, not a million miles off, but I do think that the other one was didn't have actual purfling. It was probably an old English instrument with inked purfling, but it was an 18th century violin that did sell for $100, and it looked in okay condition. But it's okay, I won't hold it against you. But this looks kind of curious. So no, I quite like this. Not bad. Lot 181, a violin by Mark Dearlove, Leeds, circa 1820. Interesting. 35.9, 46,000. Any comments on this one? No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm done saying nice because a lot of them are nice. Ingles has high standard, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't argue with that. They have, yeah, a minimum standard, especially for violins and things, and everything's pretty decent to a point. A violin circa 1900 with a Galliano label, 35.6, 6 to 8,000 there.
Are you having problem loading half of the? Yep.
Half of that, yeah, it's cut off. You don't get the full violin with that.
Yeah.
You have to bid 8,000 to get the full violin.
Yeah. Looks nice. I don't know what that is. I mean,
yeah,
I wonder what Rose is.
Yeah, it looks okay. Fairly modernish, isn't it? So
Yeah,
a violin
is a 1900, but yeah, anyway.
Exactly. Violin, Italy, circa 1926, labeled Andreas Renisto. 36.1. It's a bit big. 3 to 5,000 is the estimate.
That scroll. That scroll almost looks Austrian. I mean, I've seen the German, but also the Viennese instrument has like the exact same looking scroll. I wonder why would they think this is okay? If they think this is Italian, then it's Italian, but what's going on here?
Well, perhaps
if this is Italian, the one I saw through Brompton is definitely Italian. Like this looks exactly like that. Wait a minute. It's almost the same instrument as the one I had. I sold it for like 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, right.
Should have kept it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very similar looking instrument that Matt from Amber said that it's just a French factory violin.
Right.
It looks exactly like this. So
yeah.
Well, we don't point names, but
no, exactly. A violin, Circle of Thomas Hardy, Edinburgh, circa 1850, 35.7, 3 to 5,000. I've seen a definitely confirmed Thomas Hardy violin in the flesh. Looks very, very similar to this.
Yeah.
So this looks believable to me. Obviously, they're not 100% happy with it, but looks like an interesting violin. These actually can sound fairly nice. Yeah. The varnish is always this quite interesting yellow color, and they tend to go for this kind of quite narrow flame. But yeah, solid maker there.
Yeah. This is our favorite lot.
Yeah, this genuinely is my favorite lot. I 100% agree, actually. A composite violin, Mantua, mid-18th century. The front later Italian, scroll probably by Camillo Camilli, unlabeled, 35.5. That's a good size. 18 to 25. I like it. I like the way that it looks. I like the proportions. It's a nice looking violin. Yeah, I just like it. This
Yeah,
one I'm a fan of.
it's
I
very
like every
Italian.
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the back, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if the back is actually made by Camille.
Yeah, this is my favorite lot. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember anything else being better than that for me in any case.
Yeah, I mean, Brompton would just sell as a whole Italian violin, but then in the description they said the front is probably later.
Yeah.
Than that, yeah.
So a violin by Sebastian Villaume, Paris circa 1850, 35.9, Violin Bow in the case. Sold with certificate of JNAB in London, 1997, 30 to 50,000 pounds. So these ones are going up in value as well.
Yeah, I'm like looking at the front, like, yeah, that's not a Jean-Baptiste, but the back is almost a Jean-Baptiste.
Yeah.
Very interesting. The scroll,
nice looking. So this is Villaume on a budget, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean, I also since when does a Sebastian sell for 30, 50,000 pounds? Man, I mean, this is crazy.
Since a JB went up in money, then I guess all of the relatives goes up. So
wow, I mean, that's interesting. Yeah.
Nice back though, very nice back for sure.
Yeah. As I said, the back is almost a Jean-Baptiste. I mean, even the scroll. I mean,
that's interesting. A violin by Joseph Bohumil Herklik, Mlada Bolslav, 1934. No idea. 36.1. That's a big one as well. It's curious. Any comments on that one? No.
nope.
He's
That's
trying it.
nice.
He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it.
like it.
Lot 188, a violin, South Germany, early 19th century, 35.7, 3 to 5 is the estimate. I like that scroll.
I like how after so many auctions, now I have a pretty good mental picture of what the South Germany looks like. You can see how far apart the F holes are, and they're not like completely Steinerish upright. This is what you would like. Someone would probably like misattribute to Rome, like if you're very optimistic, because even if you open it up, you look at how the linings go into the corner blocks, it's gonna look exactly like a Tekla.
Yeah, no, it's I quite like that.
But then if you see an actual Rome instrument, it's gonna look a lot more bold than
this might be my second favorite instrument, actually. A violin attributed to Francesco Ruggieri, North Italy, early 18th century, scroll later, with Amati label, 35.6, 10 to 15.
Man, before you sell an instrument like this to Ingles, do a dendro on it. I mean, it could be anything. It's just almost like a missed opportunity. If I buy this for 10,000 pounds, good chance I can probably put a name on it. Maybe.
But I do wonder if they've done dendros anyway. They just don't. Maybe the dendro in certain cases kind of possibly might take away from the value.
Yeah,
that's what I wonder, because I can't really imagine that Ingles would not do a dendro.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
Bunch of like Austrian instrument popped up or German.
Yeah. But I like that actually. I think that's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, they think it's Northern Italy. And do they think dendro doesn't have any? I mean, maybe because if Pierre just did an email report, they don't feel like it's even necessary to include it. Or yeah, it's interesting.
Definitely.
You may have to ask them about it. I mean, I'm very curious because if they've already done Denver on it, and as a buyer, I would like to know because I would I mean, it could be because of an optimistic buyer may think it's a good investment, but if they always find out, or maybe just do a Denver with the auction picture and see what it says. Peter will probably be like, hey, I've already done it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So a violin by Francisco Espana, Barcelona, 1844, 36.6. Wow, that's big. 3 to 5,000.
That's nice. Wow, it's a nice instrument. That looks amazing.
He's a fan. He's found
It's
one.
huge, but like what? It's a very well-made fractional viola. Think about it that way.
Right, yeah, okay, yeah. That's an interesting way to think about it. No, it does look nice. I agree.
I mean, there's so many potential. There's so much potential in Spanish. Like remember that Jose Contreras. You're
Yeah.
buying a Strat. I mean, you're buying a Strat for like fraction of the money.
No, definitely opportunities for the Spanish makers. A violin workshop of Emile Boulangot, Miracle 1922, 35.6, 3 to 5,000 there. Looks in quite good condition. Okay, we can move on then. And a violin by Rodolfo Tramonti, Forlì, 1931, 35.8. This violin featured in Luteria Moderna in Miglia Romana by Artemo Vasari, pages 268 to 9, 16 to 20,000 pounds there.
Looks nice. That looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a nice varnish to it.
Yeah. See, this is what I call an actually good modern Italian. Like none of those like just pure one color. It's got a nice, patina, nice crack to the back. It's been like very well worn in. I mean, this is your Italian varnish, but like properly worn in.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Nice.
This is definitely interesting. A violin by Lorenzo Carcassi, Florence, 1762, 35.1, certificate of W. Hills and Sons from 1981, 35 to 50,000 pounds there.
This one looks like it's been like revarnished, and there are a lot of like just dirt and stuff on it. Yeah, that's not a. I wouldn't think that's a Carcassi varnish. I could be wrong, but my opinion is this one's been revarnished and.
Yeah, not 100% sure about that one, but still.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wait, further images. What's going on? Oh, nice. It's got a label. It's got the original label in it.
Okay, yeah, we've kind of been skipping that a bit, but this is a nice one actually. A violin by Luigi Ercoli, Pistoia, 2018, 35.5 with certificate of the maker, but it's quite a nice back actually, 3 to 5,000.
What's really funny is actually the tailpiece. I like how well the tailpiece matches with the rest of the instrument.
Yeah. Yeah, I quite like this one.
Yeah. It's nice.
I like the kind of upright kind of F holes actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite like that. I do like that one. Approved. A violin by Dario Aguzzi, Vidigolfo 2020. Length back 35.5, sold a certificate of maker, undated, 3 to 5,000.
There are just so many violin makers now in Italy. I mean, but still.
Well, the demand is still there, well, to a degree anyway. So, and kind of historic instruments are getting more and more out of reach. This one's actually pretty nice as well. A violin, Central Italy, circa 1800. With an Eduardi label, 35.7, 20 to 30,000.
Does this have any resemblance to the Eduardi in the Momati auction from last time?
Yeah, I was remembering that. Oh God, I struggle to remember. Maybe a little bit. This one looks a bit nicer, a bit more interesting.
Yeah, the back is just stunning. Like holy shit.
Yeah, it's a nice looking instrument actually.
Look at that back.
Yeah, I like it. I'm not gonna complain about that one.
Yeah. Well, 20,000, 30,000.
Here you go. This is one of our ones again. A violin by Carlo Antonio Testore, Milan, circa 1725. Labeled as such, 35.8. In case certificates, Kenneth Warren and Sons, Chicago. 80 to 120,000. It's got 2008. Hills from 1891 there. William Luff as well from 1956. Interesting.
Lots I like how Kenneth Warren. They're still issuing certs. Yeah, this is your like your early Testore, or
Yeah,
like ones that look more similar to a. Actually, no. I mean, you would still associate this with the Carlo. I mean, it has the influence of Carlo Giuseppe. You can see the F hole still has that bit of the Carlo Giuseppe, but then the overall look is, definitely a Carlo Antonio.
I think this is my favorite type of Testore scroll, to be honest. I'm a big fan of
This
this
is
type
your
of scroll.
just quintessential CA Testore.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like that. I'm a big fan of the
I wonder,
Testores.
some of these instruments just have an interestingly low estimate. Like this thing, market price 500K to 1 million. And why? What's with 80,000? Well, what's wrong with it? It makes you wonder. And maybe it's a bit too long or whatever.
But no, that's I do like that one. It's very good. A violin by Stefano Cogna, Cremona 2016, 35.8, certificate of the maker, 2016.
Lalaconia. If you buy an instrument from Konya, it's probably gonna charge you like 10 times that, like 20,000, 30,000.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of these pegs. Minor issue, but yeah, I'm not a fan of those pegs, I have to say.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea, as they say. Yeah, it's interesting enough from the back in any case. 5 to 8,000 there is the estimate. A composite violin by Giuseppe Antonio Galliano, Naples, circa 1795. The back ribs and scroll later. Galliano label 35.7.
I mean, if the back and ribs and scroll later, I wouldn't even call this a composite violin. It's just a violin, then you buy a Gagliano front. I mean,
yeah.
A composite will be like the scrolls are original, the backs are original, maybe some of the ribs are replaced, the fronts replaced. That's just funny.
Yeah, it's almost like a composite violin with, like you say, with a top, with a Galliano top. It's it's a bit stretching it a bit, isn't it?
They try to figure out who made the rest of it, or it's just such a mixed bag of things.
Exactly. Anyhow, we must move on. But low estimate, so it makes sense, I suppose. Well, you want to buy that if you have a Galliano violin with a top by someone else, I guess.
Yeah.
So which there are lots about. So, definitely plausible. Here's another one here, a violin by Jean-Baptiste Video, Paris 1827, 35.9. Lots of documents there, Lion and Healy, etc., 100 to 150,000. I believe that this was my favorite Viome from the other auction.
Yeah, we've seen. I'm like, have we seen this one? That looks
this one definitely. I've seen this one in person. I've seen this one in person. This is a nice instrument.
Did it not sell, or
no? It didn't sell. It didn't hit the estimate. But this is nice. It's a nice looking violin. I like it. I do like this.
It's missing pins for some reason.
But I like it. It's nice. It's a nice one. A violin by Justin Derazi, Miracle 1870, 35.9, 5 to 7,000 there.
Nice.
Yeah, it's all right. Pretty standardish to me.
Yeah.
Violin by George Adolphe Chanot, Manchester 1889, labeled G.A. Chanot, violin, viola, violoncello, etc. 35.8, 6 to 8,000. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad.
What are you gonna like the next one?
Yeah, is the next one another good one?
Yeah, another one that was on private sale. Now they put it on auction. They're just like getting rid of their inventory.
Okay. Oh, okay. Ex Tibor Zelig, a violin by David Tekla. I think this was in the last sale there as well, wasn't it? I can't remember. Maybe not. Rome circa 1720. Length about 35.7 in case. Sold with copies of the certificates and letter of the Rudolf Wurlitzer Co. 1939. 85 to 120,000 there.
Like I said, this is essentially a German violin with an Italian-looking scroll and a more Italianly placed F holes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
again, Testore is German. The whole Rome school is built after him. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm not massively a fan of these kind of F holes personally, but I'm sure it sounds nice. A violin, School of Claude Pierre, Paris, circa 1740, 35.6, certificate of Rampal, 46,000 there.
yeah, I quite like these PA. So cheap.
Yeah, I like this as well, actually. I like this. Once again, I like these kind of vertical F holes, actually.
Yeah.
I'm
Mm,
quite a fan.
sometimes you want them. This one's a bit odd, I guess. If you've seen, I guess to each taste.
Yeah, definitely. And a violin, probably by Alessandro Zanti, Mantua circa 1800, head later, with the Ballesteri label. Interesting, 35.4, 20 to 30,000. This looked very similar to that, the not Galliano back
Yeah,
even.
it could be from Mantua.
Yeah, interesting scroll. The work on that, the tool marks. Yeah, I mean, not really doing anything for me, but interesting enough, I would say.
Got a big boy coming up.
Oh yeah, well this is the last one, isn't it?
No, no,
Lot
one more.
is it?
The big boy.
Oh no, this is the last one.
Guadagnini is the next one. Oh, I thought you didn't. Yeah,
Oh no,
sorry.
I've just switched over. Yeah, Lot
Yeah.
206 X Edith Lorand, a violin by Giovanni Battista Guadagnini, Piacenza, circa 1748, 35.3 in case.
Another,
Certificate of Emil Hermann, New York, 1937. 150,000 to 220,000.
yeah, another Piacenza Guadagnini.
Mm,
I like the other one better. The other one's more you what you call stereotypical Guadagnini. This one is, I guess it's more in line with this like Piacenza style.
yeah.
But yeah. The other one really started leaning towards his Milan style already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's it. We're at the end of the auction. I still think that my favorite is this composite Mantuan one.
Mm, that's nice. Yeah, I like that. I mean, the both of the Mantuan stuff are pretty good. The Camellia is nice too.
Yeah.
The Geisenhof is interesting. The Goffrilla also, I mean, it's one of the few instruments I can be like, I can look at them like, yeah, that's a Goffrilla. Some of these are just very, very typical. Nothing seemed like out of the line.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, it's an interesting auction and I'm curious to see what the prices go on. No doubt keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts before we head off on this auction?
I feel like bookmark Viola and see how much they actually go for. I'm very interested to see.
Yeah, there's some
I-
stuff that I'm very curious to see what happens
Oh,
with as well.
oh
So
shit, the Strat bow. We forgot to talk about that. That's my favorite part.
oh, that's your favorite lot, is it? The Stradbroke? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely
What the hell's going on?
yeah, that is definitely curious. Worth investigating that. Shame there's no other kind of information. I want to see this letter,
Yeah.
to be honest. You kind of tease us with the letter and then don't show it to us. So
Yeah, it's a letter from Charles Beers in 2021.
yeah, exactly.
September from last
September.
month.
Yeah, it's like literally yeah, it's like why
What are you
tease us and
saying?
not show it to us. But
It's like Charles Beer think this bow was made by Strat? I mean, this is crazy. I mean, ask you should
yeah.
ask Ingles about it, yeah.
Or maybe the letter says he doesn't think it's Strad, but someone else
But
did beforehand. So I don't know. We can
that could be,
speculate.
yeah.
We'll only know when you buy it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, to everyone that ends up watching this video, thanks a lot and bearing with this kind of over 2 hour video. It's an interesting auction. I'll put the link in the description. Have a look at it, see what you think, read all the terms if you're going to bid on anything. Thanks Max for joining us on this adventure, much appreciated.
course, thank you so much for having me again. We'll see you guys on the next auction.
Yes, exactly. Potentially Brompton's one, perhaps. That might be a good one to do. Looks like some interesting stuff on that one, some high tier things as well. So yeah, so once again, thanks everyone for watching, and also thank you to Max. So see everyone later. Ciao for now. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.